Math 8A students. Hopefully by now you have had a chance to attempt this Chapter 7 quiz practice worksheet in an effort to be ready for the Chapter 7 quiz. So this video is going to review what the right answers to all these problems should be and how to come up with those right answers. As always with these types of videos, I'm going to show you all the answers first, and then once I show you all the answers, feel free to fast forward, rewind, skip around. You don't have to watch this whole entire video. Just watch the explanations for the problems that you need help on. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to start off by showing you the answer key. So here's the answer key. Here's the first 7 problems. You can pause this video for a second. And then here are the rest of the answers, 8, 9, 10, 11. You will notice that some of these problems have 2 different versions of the answer depending on whether you write it with negative exponents or put it in a fraction format. So either one of those is acceptable. And when you are taking the actual Chapter 7 quiz, I will try to program Edgelastic so that it will accept either one of those answers. All right, here we go. Let's explain away. Number 1, we're going to simplify this whole big mess of n's and r's. Remember, whenever you have any problem on this quiz, when in doubt, what should you do? Write it out. So, could I take this problem and write n, 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 r, 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 r? I could. I'm not going to right now, but you could do it yourself if you needed to. And then you could count up how many n's and r's you have. But the shortcut is, what do we do with these 2 exponents? We add them up because there's 5 n's and then there's 2 more n's. So there are 7 n's. And there are r times r times r times r times r times r times r, 7 r's on this one as well. So that's where we get n to the 7th power, r to the 7th power. All right, number 2 is a little bit more complicated. The first thing that you're going to want to do on number 2 is you're going to want to square this and cube this. Then worry about the rest later, okay? So, excuse me, step 1, square this whole thing. You know to square it means to multiply it by itself, or it means square each of the pieces inside. So square the 3 and you get 9. Square the w squared and that's w to the 4th. Square the r and you get r times r, or r squared. So that's the first part, okay? Then we're going to do the second part. The second part, the second chunk is this chunk, and we're going to cube everything. We're going to cube -2, and if you got this problem wrong, it might be because you didn't realize that -2 times -2 times -2 is actually -8, not +8, -8, right? Because a negative times a negative times a negative is negative. All right, so -8 is what you get when you cube -2. Okay. 3 times 5 here is w to the 15th power. And then r squared cubed is r to the 6th because we are going to do 2 times 3, and that's our new exponent. Then from here, we've got to figure out which one of these choices is going to be correct. And you can kind of already tell that 9 times -8 is -72. So it's kind of got to be A, right? None of those other ones have a -72 there, so it's got to be A. But just to finish it up and show you how we came up with that, 9 times 8 is -72, right? That's the 9 times the -8. W to the 4th and w to the 15, there's 4 and then there's 15 more. That's 19 w's. Then r squared, r to the 6th, that's 2 r's and then 6 more r's. So r to the 8th is what your final answer would be on that. So A is the correct choice. All right, moving along. Number 3, you've got some m's to deal with and some n's to deal with here. If you've got 6 m's on top and 2 m's on bottom and 3 n's on top and 6 n's on bottom, could you, when in doubt, write it out on this problem? Yep, and then you could do my favorite thing, match and scratch, right? If you want to, you can do it when in doubt, write it out, match and scratch style. Or you can remember what to do with these exponents. In this situation, you subtract the exponents. So for m, it's going to be 6 minus 2. For n, it's going to be 3 minus 6. And so our answer to this one is going to be m to the 4th, right, because 6 minus 2, n to the negative 3, because 3 minus 6 is negative 3. But if you wanted to, you could write that as m to the 4th over n cubed, because we know what negative exponents mean. They mean that's really 3 n's in the denominator, which you can actually tell if you look at the original problem, right? And if you think about matching and scratching, these 3 n's would cancel out 3 of the 6 n's on the bottom, but there'd still be 3 n's on the bottom. So you could kind of put it that way or that way. Either way is okay. All right, number 4. The first thing I want to do on this problem, similar to number 2, is I am going to cube the top and then square the bottom. So let's do that first. Cube the top, z squared times z squared times z squared would be z to the 6th. W to the negative 1 cubed is w to the negative 3. And if you have a negative 3, w to the negative 3 on top, you could rewrite that as w cubed on the bottom if you wanted to. All right, on the bottom you're going to square z cubed, and you've got z cubed times z cubed. So you've got 2 times 3, you've got 6 z's. And then w squared squared, that's w squared times w squared, so w times w times w times w, which is w to the 4th. And again, just like on problem number 3, we're going to subtract the exponents and subtract the exponents, although you would get z to the 0. Oh wait, remember what happens here? Z to the 0 is just 1, or just think of it as match and scratch. The z's are gone. Okay, the z's are gone. Yay. So all we have here is w to the what? W to the what? Well, it would be negative 3. W to the negative 3 minus 4. Isn't that what you do? You subtract w negative 3 minus 4. So you could write your answer as w to the negative 7. Or, if you realize that these 3 w's are actually in the bottom, there's 7 w's in the bottom and nothing on top except for a placeholder 1. So you could write it as 1 over w to the 7th. Either one is okay. All right. So now we get to number 5. And you get 8 to the x power is 16. Solve. Don't forget, that means you better tell me what x equals. Same thing on number 6. So we're going to write x equals. How do we figure out what x equals? Well, 16 is double 8, not 8 squared. So it's not 8 squared. 8 squared is 64, not 16. So what we're going to have to do on this problem is we're going to have to convert both of these to 2 to the something power. Okay, 8 is 2 cubed. So if it's 8 to the x, it's 2 cubed to the x. 16 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, because that's 4, right? And that's 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So it's 2 to the 4th. So what we really see here is if 2 to the this equals 2 to the that, then doesn't this have to equal that? See what I'm saying? Right? If 2 to the this equals 2 to the that, then this has to equal that. Now where did I get 3x? Because don't you multiply 3 times x when you have parentheses? Yeah. Yep. So you're just going to solve for x by dividing, and you get x equals 4/3. There you go. Boom. All right. Number 6 is a more complicated exponent, but 128 is going to be easier because I can write that as a power of 2. We had a little technical difficulties there, got interrupted, but here we are back. All right, so if it's 2 to the 3x plus 10 equals 128, I can use my calculator to figure out how many 2's make 128. Is it 2 to the 3rd? Nope. Is it 2 to the 8th? Nope, overshot it. 2 to the 7th maybe. Yep, 2 to the 7th is 128. So 2 to the 7th equals 2 to the 3x plus 10. And if 2 to the this equals 2 to the that, then doesn't it mean 3x plus 10 must equal 7, right? 2 to this equals 2 to that. So 3x plus 10 equals 7, right? They have to. If 2 to the that equals 2 to the this, they have to be equal. And then it's just, this is just a two-step equation. Take away 10 from both sides, just equation solving, right? Isolate the variable. You got -3, divide by 3, and you've got x equals -1 on number 6. Okay? All right, hopefully that is working for you. Number 7. All right, number 7, we've got 4 to the 6th and 4 to the 3rd. Just like one of our problems up above, we can match and scratch if we want to. But there it is again, that bell, always wanting to interrupt my videos. Sorry about that. But you can see basically that the 6 and the 3 mean that 3 of these are going to cancel, match, scratch, match, scratch, match, scratch, with 3 of the 6 on the top, and it's going to leave you with 3 on the top. So really, the answer is 4 cubed, or 4 times 4 times 4. But at this point, we can do 4 times 4 times 4. So let's not put 4 cubed in our answer column, right? Let's do 4 times 4 times 4 and say that the answer is 64, right? Because if the directions say simplify, it's a lot like 64 is a simpler number than 4 cubed. So let's write the most simple version of it that we can. All right, number 8, we're not going to be able to simplify it to a number because we don't know what b equals, but we do know that in this situation, I'm supposed to multiply those exponents. So somehow I'm going to have b to the 48th power, because 12 times 4 is 48. Or you could think of it as, if I'm doing something to the 4th power, it's 12 b's and 12 more b's and 12 more b's and 12 more b's, right? Because it's b to the 12th to the 4th. That's a lot of b's. That's 12, 24, 36, 48 b's. And that's how we got b to the 48th power. All right, number 9, similar to before. Before I do anything else, I've got to cube the parentheses stuff. So let's not mess with the top. Let's not mess with the 5, but I'm going to cube the x to the 4th, and that's x to the 12th. I'm going to cube the y squared. That's 2 times 3 is 6. And now I can start matching, scratching, subtracting, doing whatever I need to do. In this case, the 2 and the 5 aren't going to really do anything. They kind of have to stay a 2 and a 5, right? So my answer is going to be 2/5 something. X to the what? 3 minus 12 is -9. Y to the what? 5 minus 6 is -1. Yeah? So you can write it that way. Or, as you saw in the answer key earlier, if you thought of this as matching and scratching, basically 3 of these x's are going to cancel out 3 of those 12, and you're going to have 9 x's on the bottom, right? 9 x's on the bottom, and then 5 of these y's are going to cancel 5 of the 6 y's down here, and you're just going to have 1 y left down here. And so the other way you could write this answer is 2 on top, and then 5x to the 9th y on the bottom. And you could put y to the 1st power if you want to, or just leave it the way it is. All right, 2 more problems. Number 10, 8 to the 2/3 power. Okay, remember what this means. The bottom number means it's a cube root, right? The bottom number tells you what kind of root it is. The top number means you're going to square that thing. So do we know what 8 times 8 is? Yep. And does 64 have a cube root? It does. 64 happens to be 4 times 4 times 4, and I know that because 16 times 4 is 64. And so I can uncube a 64. The answer is 4, right? So there we go. All right, and then finally, just a straight cube root problem, similar to what we did right here. We're going to uncube the 125. So what times itself makes 125? Is it 2 times 2 times 2? No. Is it 3 times 3 times 3? No. Is it 4 times 4 times 4? Right? You can keep on guessing and checking, and eventually what you should figure out is 125 is 25 times 5. It's 5 times 5 times 5. So what is the cube root? What do you get when you uncube a 125? You get 5. All right, that is that. And I hope everything made sense to you. Feel free to let me know if anything is still bothering you. Otherwise, I wish you the best of luck on our Chapter 7 quiz.